quick announcement before. So I have a quick announcement before my video even begins. So I haven't been posting much, and I know that. A lot of that is due to the fact that summer school has taken up loads of my time, and I've had barely any time to record, especially on my Halo channel. So, wait, some of you don't know, I do have a Halo channel, link in the description, don't worry. But also, next week, I haven't really recorded much, mainly because of a death in my family, so I'm not going to be recording next week, except maybe Thursday, because my mom's going to be on vacation, and and that leaves me with barely any time to record anyways. So, yeah, I'm going to be busy these next few weeks. I will probably, have a bit more time around, like, the time that the state fair starts up. So, if that isn't, if everything clears up by then, I'll be fine, but if not, oh well, life's a bitch. Anyway, on to my episode. So, anyways, guys, let's begin this talk episode, and this episode's gonna be really interesting, and this is my personal opinion on a certain thing. So, for all of you longtime Disney fans, and I'm pretty sure there's like, none of them that watch this, but some of you may have heard of the infamous Pixar Theory, or as I like to call it, the Pixar CU Theory, or known as Connected Universe. So, this whole theory is basically saying that the entire Pixar universe, all of the Pixar movies, share one universe. So, all of your favorite movies, from Ratatouille to Finding Nemo to WALL-E to Up and all that, even Cars, this theory says that they share a universe. Now, I have loads of problems with the Pixar theory. And the Pixar theory is really questionable. There are loads of things that could contradict this theory. Like, for example, the fact that Monsters Inc., but a lot of people say that would be in the future. But let's face it, we don't even know what some parts of this Pixar theory really is, because the Pixar theory is really questionable. But one thing that could really support the whole Pixar theory is the rise of By and Large. Now, if any of you have seen WALL-E, you know what By and Large is. But for some of you who don't, here's what the Pixar theory says about By and Large. So, By and Large, according to the Pixar theory, was created by a super advanced AI, which was created back in The Incredibles by Syndrome. Now I'm talking about the original, not the new one. So, Syndrome created this super advanced AI. And this AI, according to the Pixar theory, creates By and Large to take over the planet. And we kind of do see their rise to power throughout the Disney movies. When we get to Up, we see that the By and Large is known to be in the construction business, as they're buying up all the land and have their logo on the construction equipment outside of Carl's house. Now, in Toy Story 3, I didn't even know this. So, credit to Film Theory, well, MatPat mainly, for finding this out. But if you look closely when you see Buzz's batteries in Toy Story 3, when they switch into demo mode, you see By and Large's logo on the batteries. And even in Cars 3, you do see their logo in the stadium, if you analyze the extended trailer frame by frame. Now, of course, this is hard to really see, but By and Large is really kind of known for this, but there are some things that really contradict the Pixar theory as a whole, mainly with Cars. So, with the Cars, according to the Pixar theory, the Cars would be machines, basically controlled by a very advanced AI. However, we see many pieces of evidence that actually contradict this. For example, one, the cars breathe oxygen. as seen in Cars 2 when Super Secret Spy, Finn McMissile, or McMissile, whatever, wherever you're from in the world, uses a respirator to breathe on the water to get away from the criminal syndicate. And also, in that same movie, we see loads of evidence of cars drinking and eating, even on the plane in Radiator Springs, and even in Japan with that infamous pistachio ice cream bit. So that kind of does show that Mater knows what ice cream and pistachios are. But why would they need food if they weren't biological? And also, this is actually contradicted. Also, it's also something that really is somewhat contradicted even in the animated shorts. Like, for example, in one, we see that there are actually little, quote-unquote, little beetles, but they're not actual beetles. Instead, they're modeled after the VW Beetle. Now, yes, the VW Beetle is a car. A rather interesting car at that. But still, it is a major piece that could contradict this. Another piece that could contradict this is another animated short where Lightning McQueen gets hiccups. Now, I don't know if some of you know this, but hiccups are common, especially in humans. Mainly, any organism that has a diaphragm, that, like, humans can have, because when the diaphragm is, it's a lot of complicated science, but basically, it's a reject reaction by the organ underneath your lungs. And no, I'm not talking about your stomach or your liver, I'm talking about your diaphragm. But mainly, the main problem so if they get this, if they can get hiccups, that means that they have to be biological, right? I mean, of course, we do see them drinking oil to power their engines, but that's part where it actually gets confusing. Another thing is that on the official Disney page, Tales from Pixar Studios, I think that's what the episode's called, one of the animators said that Lightning McQueen that the cars can't open their doors, because if they did, you would see their brain. So that's really proof that they are not, that there's more things like that they are not just machines. Now, of course, the Pixar theory, in my opinion, is really, really questionable. We don't know why the Pixar theory even exists. Because the Pixar theory is really, really complex, and there are a lot of holes and also places that it doesn't really make any sense. I mean, the Pixar theory is, of course, just a theory. No, that's not a reference. But the Pixar theory, in my opinion, is one of the dumbest things to ever be invented. I mean, let's face it. You have something like, for example, of course, we do see in like WALL-E and all that, we do see worlds without humanity. But one thing that I really am not a big fan, one thing that really shocks me about the Pixar theory is that they tried to connect everything. And when you try to do that, sometimes there are holes that ruin your entire theory. I mean, take for instance the entire the CU of Marvel. I mean, it's a lot of weird plot points that are confusing on a lot of wrinkles. They really are confusing. Also take into perspective gaming timelines, like, for example, Five Nights at Freddy's and all that shit. You really don't even, it's hard to really tell, but theorizing is one of the things can either make or ruin a franchise. But I'm being honest here, the Pixar theory, in my opinion, is pure, utter bullshit. The Pixar theory is something that is meant to be laughed at, in my opinion. Because it's just a joke. Why would people... I mean, there's no way that there will be a supported, connected universe in the whole Pixar theory, in the whole Pixar realm. Now, that is possible, but the likelihood of that is very, very slim. Slim to nearly impossible. Now, the main thing is, with this theory, is that the entire theory mainly revolves around different plot points. Now, of course, cars could be cars. But another thing that I really have a problem with in the whole Pixar theory idea is the fact that there are a lot of just pieces that don't really make sense. I mean, of course, there could be sentient animals, as we see in Finding Nemo and Ratatouille and Finding Dory, all that shit. But there's a lot of things that don't really make any sense in the Pixar theory. Now, the Pixar theory, in my opinion, it's just utter trash. It should really be taken with a grain of salt. Especially when you consider how the timeline is, how that whole timeline would be really, really confusing. I mean, of course, there is the possibility that it could happen, especially but there are a lot of things that could really break the Pixar theory. One of them, in my opinion, that could really break the Pixar theory is Toy Story 4, with the addition of Toy Story 4, which comes out, I think, next year? Well, sometime in the near future, a new Toy Story is coming out. Now, there are loads of other things happening in the whole, but in my opinion, so, what I'm going to say is this. If you guys want you guys can leave your opinions on the Pixar theory down below in the comments. I mean, you guys can leave your own opinions on the Pixar theory, but my idea on the Pixar theory is that the Pixar theory is really trash. And if you guys really wanted I mean, I don't even know why the Pixar theory even exists. I mean, it could be for all those weird completionists, but in the end, the Pixar theory, there are loads of points with Disney that really kill the Pixar theory. So, I guess we'll have to wait and see. So, anyway, thanks for watching, guys.